Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my final episode of Macy's Parade Balloons. It's been a 4 year of a ride, but it has now come to an end as we wrap this last episode with America's favorite fat cat, Garfield. Since Garfield as a balloon in the parade has turned 40 this year, so why not we go out with a bang with this character that has been an icon in the parade from the early 80s to the mid 2000s. Garfield made his parade debut in 1984 with United Feature Syndicates as his sponsor, for his design is a generic design of him just relaxing. However, there is a fact with this balloon. The designer of the balloon, Raw Rater, referenced this design based on a Garfield stuffed animal. In his first year, he was talked about twice. The first one being in the beginning of the line with Pat Sajak commenting on him, and when he made it to Herald Square, Brian Gumbel commentated on him.
And, of course, that is one of the most famous characters around these days. He is Garfield the cat. Probably the best-loved cat in America, although he's probably more accurately described as a human in cat's clothes from his characteristics there. Eating and sleeping, his favorite activities, and apparently riding in parades as well. I'm told he doesn't really like to chase mice, so I don't know if that qualifies him as an official cat. And if you like statistics, he is going to consume 18,907 cubic feet of helium for the trip. That's only a theory, but we think that's accurate.
We're about halfway through our effort on this Thanksgiving Day morning. We hope you're enjoying it because we've still got an awful lot of parade still to go. If I keep looking up and I talk to you, it's only because I've got a cat hovering over me. Perhaps you recognize our cat. He is Garfield. You probably see him in your local paper. Jim Davis is his creator. Garfield comes to us by way of United Features Syndicate. How's that for a view?
His next appearance was in 1985, and despite the rain and the wind that year, he still managed to fly really high.
It is really gorgeous. Now, here's a question for you. What's 60 feet high, 35 feet wide, orange and black, and hates exercise? Well, there's the answer to your question right there. And we really answered it last year when the great Garfield balloon made his debut in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. I mean, how can you not love a cat that puts chasing mice at the bottom of his list of fun things to do? Garfield has been quoted as saying, "Show me a mouser, and I'll show you a cat with bad breath." Boy, the balloon handlers deserve a lot of credit on this day, too. It's breezy and rainy, and it's not easy getting a monster like Garfield, pardon me, Garfield, for calling you that, but getting him down the street. Garfield is furnished by United Feature Syndicate, and this morning he displayed his famous appetite by having a Thanksgiving breakfast of, get this, 18,907 cubic feet of helium.
Watching NBC's exclusive coverage of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade with a lineup that includes Shannon, Rosemary Clooney, and coming up, Philip Michael Thomas.
In 1986, he also managed to fly very high, but ever with a ripped paw.
Well, I don't know how many clowns we have. I don't know that there's an official count in this parade, but we can stop counting somewhere in the thousands. Now, look at this. This is the third year running that Garfield has been willing to break his normal sleeping schedule with an early feeding of helium on Thanksgiving morning so he could appear in our parade. And for a cat whose primary joys in life are eating and sleeping, you can imagine the sacrifice he's making to be here today. Still, when it comes to his fans, and especially children, he may sound tough, but he's really a pushover. Furnished by United Feature Syndicate, he's also one of the most popular balloon characters ever presented in this parade. We look at him, measuring 60 feet in length, 35 feet wide. I've calculated he is capable of coughing up a 20-foot fur ball, but that's just an unofficial estimate on my account. He's actually the fattest float in the parade, but this is Thanksgiving, so let's not talk about waistlines. The main thing is Garfield knows we all love him.
Next up is 1987, where he was commentated for the first time by the late great Riller Scott on his first year hosting.
Happy Thanksgiving, Rita, and thank you for the entertainment. Here he comes, that son of a gun. That cat, that Garfield, that gigantic thing you see there, he's the fattest and the greediest of all the balloons. Do you know it takes more helium to inflate him than any of the others? Nearly 19,000 cubic feet. That's a lot of hot air even for me. And because he's so fat, and with all that lighter-than-air helium, it takes 36, count them, 36 balloon handlers to keep him in the line of march. Garfield has what's described to you as 400 pounds of free lift. That means he can lift 400 pounds off the ground, or me in a suitcase. So if 4 kids weighing 100 pounds each tried to hold his guidelines, they couldn't keep him down. He'd fly off with them. Anyhow, 100-pound kids can't be balloon handlers. You've got to be at least 150 pounds to hold one of these lines. And all the handlers are volunteers who work at, guess what? Macy's. Garfield is furnished by United Media. We love you, fat cat.
There's lots more live on NBC. The Great American Small Dog Float with Bert Parks and one of the best high school marching bands in the country.
In 1988, Garfield celebrated his 10-year anniversary, although it wasn't even mentioned in the broadcast.
You heard that story about David Crockett killing a bear when he was only 3? Well, Davy actually was 33. The bear was 3. For our first giant balloon, what could be more fun than America's favorite fat cat? Our beloved Garfield, furnished by United Media. This orange and black striped tabby has a voracious appetite. He gulps more helium than any other high flyer in this parade. Did you know it takes nearly 19,000 cubic square feet of the stuff to get this cat off the ground? That's a fat cat.
In 1989, which was the only year when it was fully snow, Garfield was commentated by the special guest for that year, Alf.
All right, I gotta tell you, here's the fat cat that I've been waiting for. Garfield the Delicious. Ha ha! Now this is the 6th time this tabby has stalked down Broadway in Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And if my plans work out, it'll be his last. You know what? I'm disappointed. They told me it was going to be a real cat. It's made out of vinyl. You know, if I wanted to eat something that big made out of vinyl, I would have eaten Willard Scott's garment bag. Kill me. Yeah. Now, the truth is, this guy is kind of cute, all right? I might take him home for a pet if it wasn't so darn big. Could always let the air out of him, though. Look at that thing. Not enough mustard in the world. That would have fed my entire planet, you know that? Look at that thing. Whoa. Giant feline mignon. All right. Well, I think we'll go to a commercial right now while I sharpen my carving knife.
Jill Schultz and the Peanuts gang get ready to glide by, and the Radio City Music Hall Rockettes line up for kicks here on NBC.
After 1989, Garfield was retired, until 3 years later when Garfield made a comeback to Pepperade for his 15th anniversary in 1993.
What a show, what a
introduction. What a way to start out the band. The Sunshine State of Florida. The best. Thank you, West Orange. Hey, anybody in this world who knows Garfield knows that he's going to pass on turkey this Thanksgiving and head straight for the lasagna. That's his favorite dish. I hope they're serving that where you're headed for, Big Cat.
Willard, you know, Garfield is not known as an up-and-atom cat, but when he heard he was going to be the first giant balloon in the parade this year, well, he roused himself to fly down Broadway just for us. Furnished by United Media, Garfield will be celebrating his 15th birthday this year. Happy birthday, big guy, and thanks for stopping by.
Oh, that's
Nice hat, Willard.
Thank you. Perfectly lovely. Kitty, kitty. I thought you were going to do that.
Wow, he looks like he's coming down for a crash landing, doesn't he, Willard?
I think he's looking for some more food. That cat has an insatiable appetite. A cat after my own heart. And liver. Fava beans. And a good Chianti. Catante.
In 1993, Garfield will celebrate his 15th anniversary.
Garfield, of course, is known to move at a snail's pace, but when he found out he was going to be in today's celebration, this feline made a beeline for the parade. Furnished by United Media, this kitty weighs in at a whopping 398 pounds. Willard, how about that? Talk about a fat cat. It's no wonder he needed 35 iron-handed escorts to hold the tiger. And Willard, this year Garfield will be putting 15 candles on top of his lasagna.
Hey, that means he's 15, but certainly he ain't lean.
Cute pussycat.
Kitty, kitty, here, kitty, kitty. I'll bet he goes through some kitty litter in his time.
In 1994, Garfield's sponsor had changed from United States Media to Paul's Inc.
For all you kids out there, you kids of all ages, that is, here's an authentic train car. The details are beautiful. At least we can hear the train, Willard. And I should mention that that's not a train because the train's already passed us by. That's Garfield.
That's a pussycat. A big pussycat.
Everybody loves the wisecracking, lasagna snarfing fat cat from Paws Incorporated. This big tabby definitely has 9 lives, Willard. This is his 9th appearance in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
And with all the statistics we quote on this program, I've got to tell you that Garfield uses 2 million pounds of kitty litter every week. Check out that fabulous band.
Garfield would continue for the next 2 years in 1995 and 1996, where he was the second balloon of those parades. However, the former, he was actually the first one to make it to Herald Square because the balloon behind him, Dudley the Dragon, was removed.
Hey, Willard, look who's squeezing between skyscrapers. It's the big fat feline himself, Garfield. The Garfield balloon is furnished, of course, by Paws Incorporated, created by Jim Davis. The chubby cat was born in his favorite room, the kitchen. No wonder Garfield gobbles more helium than any other balloon in the parade.
He's my kind of cat. I'm not saying this fat cat's full of hot air, but Garfield thinks his weight is perfect. He says that with all humility. As you know, he has lots of. It's probably his passion for pasta that makes him the size of 117 refrigerators, don't you think?
Right. Why bother to actually take the food out of the fridge? Just eat the whole darn thing, Garfield.
Hey, he's as big as a dinosaur. But dinosaurs are extinct, and Garfield's still here, so he must be eating something right.
Willard, the balloon captain Fred Rowley would have to climb 6 flights of stairs to reach Garfield's ears.
And you know his favorite hobbies are eating and sleeping. Not a bad way to go. I think we belong to the same operation. Only the best, that's all.
Spider-Man, LL Cool J, and the Boys Choir of Harlem step into Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade when we return.
Thanks to the Lawrence brothers. Hey, Willard.
Yes, ma'am.
Guess who I see floating down the street? Here's a hint. He's fat, kind of lazy, and has a major attitude.
That sounds like my agent. I didn't know he was going to be in this parade, Kate.
Down, boy, Willard. It's America's favorite fat cat, Garfield. Garfield may like his catnip and his cat naps, but he's managed to be a part of the parade festivity since 1984. He's provided, incidentally, by Paws Incorporated.
You got that right. And we're told that Garfield's birth weight was 5 pounds 6 ounces. That's a big cat. But today it takes 50 Macy's volunteers to handle this 400-pound ice cream craving, lasagna loving feline who eats until he's, do I dare say it, cat-atonic. Oh, oh, oh. Good show, Walter. Willard. Now, please. Willard. What's up, Walter? Hi, Walter.
The residents of Sesame Street, the Big Bird Balloon, and gold medalist Oksana Bayou when the 1996 Macy's Parade marches on here on NBC. NBC's telecast of Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade is sponsored in part by the Braun Oral-B Plaque Remover. Dentists recommend changing your toothbrush every 3 months. We suggest you change it forever.
Despite an infamous year for the balloons because of those high winds, Garfield was one of the balloons to survive the wind. However, he had a deflated tail overnight due to the high winds.
And one of my favorite things, Alan Katie, is making his 14th appearance in the city that never sleeps. Here's the only kitty that only sleeps. America's favorite fat cat, Garfield. I love him. And I'm telling you, we're the same stripes, I think, when it comes to hobbies, Katie.
And they would be, Willard?
Well, you know, eating and taking a brisk nap, of course, then eating and taking another brisk nap. And, you know, anyway, he's Paws Incorporated, so let's pause for Garfield.
He's actually a bit of a bobcat because he had some tail problems early on. Garfield gobbles up 19,000 cubic feet of helium, more than any other balloon in the parade. And when he's finished lunching on lasagna, this Garfield needs a space the size of 6 kitchens in order to stretch and snooze. How's his weight this year, Willard?
Oh, holding at 400 pounds, and I believe, judging by that 20-foot wide grin, I'd say this chilled-out Cheshire thinks that's just perfect.
We've had characters fly.
He was getting ready for the big year in 1998 to celebrate his 20th anniversary. However, this parade ended up being a windy parade like the previous year, but now it rained. The hope was high for the first year of these new rules after it was stated after the previous year with the accident. Although the majority of the balloons made it, some of them were not lucky, and unfortunately, Garfield ended up being one of them, as one of his chambers of the balloon unexpectedly popped.
This past year, Garfield just deflated. It busted a chamber inside, and we had to pull it out of the parade. It wasn't because it was unsafe, it just couldn't fly.
And unfortunately, due to the damages, Garfield was removed from the parade. However, he was not the only one, as Spider-Man, Quick Bunny, and one of the new balloons, the Wild Thing, were all removed due to being deflated by tree branches or lampposts. As for the parade's broadcast on NBC, if a balloon does not reach Herald Square, NBC would show either a test flight footage if it's the balloon's debut, or show a previous year if the balloon was at Herald Square. For Garfield, the footage that they used for him was the 1996 parade.
Well, because of some of the high winds this morning, some of our large character balloons won't be coming down the line of march, but thanks to the wonders of videotape, we're going to be enjoying how they look in a previous year's parade. And of course, everyone knows that cats do not like water anyway, Matt. But as we see, enjoying life in the laid-back lane, America's favorite fat cat, Garfield, furnished by Paws Incorporated. Garfield might feel a little extra smug today. Well, it would have been his 15th parade appearance.
Actually, this was kind of a birthday year, too, because he celebrated his 20th birthday. That's how long ago it was that he was born in Mama Leone's kitchen, and then, of course, introduced to his favorite food, lasagna. And how do you suppose he celebrated that birthday?
Gee, I don't know, by taking a long nap, I think.
However, Garfield did come back in 1999.
Form of exercise may be a brisk nap, but America's favorite fat feline manages to drift down Broadway for his 16th parade. making our chilled out Cheshire Macy senior balloon. I think he's ready for his holiday lasagna with all the trimmings.
Garfield, by the way, is furnished by Paws Incorporated, and he gobbles up some 19,000 cubic feet, that is, of helium. No wonder he's the size of a fast food restaurant. And by the way, when he wants his food, Katie, he wants it fast, which explains his fondness for the microwave. His head is the size of 50 of them.
Garfield always leaves us with some morsels of wisdom. This year, creator Jim Davis Tabby says, never put off until tomorrow what you can eat today. I'll eat to that.
After the 1999 parade, the original Garfield balloon was retired, making a total of 14 appearances. 4 years later, Garfield will make a comeback to the parade, but however with an all-new balloon. With this design not being as generic as the original, but he is holding his plush doll Pookie and giving a big thumbs up. And not only he came back to celebrate his 25th anniversary, but he also promoted the new live-action movie, Garfield, set to be released the following year in 2004.
All right, now everybody's favorite cat and a brand new balloon. It's Garfield, Macy's holiday ambassador for 2003. Garfield and his best pal Pookie give this parade of parades a very big thumbs up. Pookie, by the way, is the size of 700 teddy bears.
Furnished by Paws Incorporated, it looks like our wisecracking, tuckered out tabby hasn't given up his passion for pasta. In fact, Garfield weighs as much as 37,000 cans of lasagna.
That's a lot of lasagna. 2003 marked Garfield's 25th year in the comics. Next summer, he'll star in the first ever Garfield movie.
All right, everybody, the word on the street.
In 2004, Garfield promoted the home media release of the Garfield live-action movie. However, one of his paws was deflated.
And parading down Broadway, everybody's favorite fat feline Garfield with his best pal, Pookie. Paws Incorporated furnishes that lazy, lasagna-loving cat who prefers laydowns to sit-ups.
Who doesn't? Well, after the parade, our tuckered-out tabby plans to chill and watch the video of his box office smash, Garfield the Movie. Followed by what else? A cat nap. All stretched out, ready to snooze. Balloon Garfields the size of 9 king-size beds.
Garfield's philosophy, never put off till tomorrow what you can eat today. I'm following that philosophy on Thanksgiving. That is one profound pussycat. The days before high-tech and low-carb.
In 2005, his sponsor was changed from Paws Inc. to Fox Home Entertainment.
Okay, enjoying life in the laid-back lane and giving this parade a big thumbs up. It's everybody's favorite fat cat, Garfield, furnished by Fox Home Entertainment. He's hanging with his best pal, Pookie, who's the size of 700 teddy bears.
The Garfield balloon gobbles up some 14,000 cubic feet of helium. No wonder he's as big as a fast food restaurant. Speaking of gobbling, after the parade comes his usual Thanksgiving feast, microwave lasagna, which, as Garfield puts it, is possibly nature's most perfect food.
And as always, our tuckered out tabby leaves us with profound words. Anybody can exercise, but this kind of lethargy takes a real discipline.
Here's a fabulous 50s flashback aboard the...
And finally, his final appearance in 2006 to promote Garfield, The Two Tales of Kitties, mainly the home media release.
I definitely believe. Okay, check out that nap-taking, lasagna-loving, famously fat cat Garfield and his best bear, Pookie, furnished by 20th Century Fox Home Entertainment.
Garfield gobbles up more helium than any other balloon. In fact, to satisfy his passion for pasta, Balloon Garfield would need a lasagna pan the size of about 6 kitchens. In that Weisenheimer's own words, I'm not overweight, I'm under tall.
The Tubby Tabby with a rude toot is totally the cat's meow with the release of his new DVD, Garfield, A Tale of Two Kitties. But will our sassy star rest on his laurels? Absolutely. Garfield will rest on anything.
California's Riverside Community College.
After the 2006 parade, the second version of Garfield was retired, making a total of 4 appearances. And if you combine the original Garfield, he makes a total of 18 appearances in the parade's history. And with that said, as I now close this chapter in my channel's books, I would like to say thank you for watching these episodes. And the only reason I made the series to begin with was because, well, I just wanted to do it for fun. I didn't really intend this to be a copycat. I just did it for fun. But after I realized that this is basically a copy, which I knew from the beginning, I just wanted this to be done. I didn't want to continue this. I just didn't want to leave it with a conclusion. However, since this was my most popular series on my channel, well, one of, I had to close it out with something. And luckily, I did. And although I'm not going to make no more Macy's Parade content, maybe I think I might make some random Macy's Parade content. I don't know. But I will just say there ain't gonna be no Macy's Parade balloons after this. So yeah, there's not gonna be a season 2. But it was a fun ride doing these as my series turns 4 years this year. Like damn, I'm almost at 5 for this series. I would like to say thank you for watching these 18 episodes, or technically 19 if you want to count Woody's original and remake as a separate episode. As I say bye to this series, all I have to say is have a happy new year, and I'll prepare on what I'm going to do in 2025.